All right, we're rolling.
Okay, here we go.
You gonna introduce us, Patrick?
I think
Yes.
Corey is introducing us tonight.
Sure.
Well,
Yeah.
welcome back, whoever is listening or watching. We have Keith, Greg, Patrick, back again as always,
As always.
and we're happy to have him here.
Thank you.
He's also a special guest.
Special guest too.
Special. So let's emphasize special.
But our true special guest is Kevin.
Yes.
Thanks, man.
You can see right here in the nice jacket.
Yeah.
It definitely is a nice jacket. actually.
Definitely is.
If I don't get it,
I should have said he didn't have to dress up for this.
Yeah, right.
If they don't sell them at Costco, I don't buy them.
But we do have something for Kevin. We're going to start this new thing for any of our guests, which we're going to have Patrick do it as well because he was our very first guest.
Ooh.
You got him nothing.
We got him drunk.
One cup of shut the hell up is what you got.
No, we got him drunk.
No, yeah.
Yes. Yes, you did. Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you.
Multiple
And a new
Multiple
thing we're going to start, we're going to have all of our guests sign this beautiful guitar that I hand-built. I didn't hand-build it. But
Build.
Did I say built?
Yes.
Yeah,
No.
you did say Bill.
It's the same.
That is not a word.
Oh, yeah, coming from Mr. Ebonics?
Awesome, man.
Okay. So what color are you going to have him sign it in?
Either
Yellow?
one. The
Well,
yellow, I was
that
having
one's strong
issues
one.
with the yellow. The silver, I think will
Silver?
work out.
Alright.
And you can sign anywhere you want.
This is awesome.
And you can write anything you want
Yeah.
on it, right?
Absolutely.
Oh,
You could, hey,
My
you could write
penmanship is. I'm just
a
gonna
whole book.
Yeah, you could.
Yeah. You
That
could-
way nobody else
No
can
other
sign
guest
it.
can sign
You're
it.
like, hey, I'm
Dear
Start drawing.
podcast.
Yeah.
This morning I woke up about.
And sign it with just a big,
yeah.
big penis.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Just like
Kevin.
that, man.
Yeah.
That what a
Hey, you
real
wanna show that to
signature.
the
That's
camera?
wild.
Hold it up there. Just hold it up.
That is a.
That's like an actual famous
That's a
person's
great
signature.
yeah,
signature.
there you go.
Yeah.
My signature looks like
And then-
shit.
That's when he's obviously signed a few more things than we have
Yeah,
in our
absolutely,
life.
That's true.
yeah.
That is
Yeah.
true.
Yes.
There's, I'll tell you one. You talk about signing stuff. We did an air show in Dayton, Ohio. It was 2000, and this guy came up and he said, "Hey, he had these 10 photos, and he goes, would you guys sign these photos for me?" And we're like, "Well, what are they?" And they said, "Well, my dad was the maintenance guy for Wilburn Overwright, and these are
What?
photos." And he goes, "That's my dad in the photo." And we're like, "You don't want us to sign them?" And he's like, "No, really, I do, And he's
We're going to
he's
ruin
showing
the
us-
value of
yeah,
those.
yeah. And that's exactly what we said. We're like, "Sir, you don't want us to sign these things?" He goes, "No, it's it's a year 2000. I think it'd be really good if you guys sign these." And we're like, and I'm like, okay, it's K, and I don't know where these things ended up, but I'm like, dude, man, so signing those 10
That's cool,
photos
though.
from
That's
That's
nice.
Yeah.
crazy.
his dad was a maintenance guy.
It's very interesting to find out where those did end up.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, who knows? Man, threw in a shoebox in his attic
Yeah,
or
right.
whatever.
Yeah, right.
But
Yeah.
it was that had to be probably the most.
They went to Antique Roadshow.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the guy's like,
The
you
dude
know
was
what?
like,
It
if
would have
you
been $1
didn't
million.
have some idiot sign
You
this.
had all of
This would
these
be
guys
$10
sign
million.
But now they're only 10 cents.
We'll give you a road shooting T-shirt.
Yeah.
Here you go, man. You can have that.
In the
That's,
Smithsonian with your name.
Yeah.
yeah,
Right under their plane. Right.
exactly.
That's great.
Which is actually hanging in the Smithsonian.
Right. Is it?
Yeah.
I've been there.
I've been there too.
Yeah. You know
A
what?
bunch of times.
One of our and I know that you had a lot of assignments with your career. But one of the coolest assignments, we had several with my dad. But one when we were in Washington, we were in the city every weekend checking out the multiple Smithsonians.
Yeah.
Like it's just there's such a wealth of history there.
Yeah.
And the Wright brothers plane is there, and I think there's a Thunderbird in there as well.
There is, yeah.
Is
There is
there?
one
Really?
there, yeah.
So
So just so everyone knows,
yes,
Kevin actually, you flew the Thunderbirds, correct?
I did, yeah.
Okay. I want to make sure I get the right
Long time
planes.
ago.
Yeah.
You got the watch on you?
I do, yes. Matter of fact,
Oh,
there's
that's
a
nice.
watch.
Yeah.
No way. Yeah, let
That's
me
a
wear that.
story behind it.
No. Actually, I would love
It's got
to see
the,
that.
it's got the
Yeah.
Thunderbird logo on it. Everything.
That is actually sweet.
Yeah, we got those from the Brightling company. We were-
Plastic. Yeah, no, I'm kidding.
Plastic.
Oh, actually, you must see it.
What the hell kind of organization is this?
Yeah, if you put your glasses on, you can read fossil. or Casio. No.
Yeah.
No, we got those in. We were doing a tour in Europe, and the Breitling folks from Breitling came out. There was us, the Italian team, the French team. We're at this dinner at this village in Italy, and this Breitling folks woke up. They walked in and were like, "Wow, what the Breitling folks doing here?" And they gave each of the teams. They gave us all watches.
Wow,
Yeah,
how cool! So I have a couple questions for you, and I think we all do actually, because
Fire away, man.
we truly have been talking about having you on
For a long time.
For a long time.
Actually, I think since we started.
Since-
I think
yes.
episode
Oh, man.
1.
We even asked you at like a quarterly.
Yes.
I think I remember you guys asking. I'm like, yeah, man, I'll do it. Yeah.
So I think we all have some questions. So, my dad was a yoke guy. You're a stick guy.
I'm sorry, what's a yoke?
in the plane.
A yoke is this. A yoke is a big plane,
Okay.
and
Oh, stick guy.
and he's got
stick.
he gets to play with the stick all day, right?
Why'd you put it? Okay.
Yeah, why you put it down?
Yeah, come on, dude.
Hey, where's your stick? Hold on. Where's the stick located?
Well, where's the other thing? It's right here.
Yeah,
Right?
the other thing's right here too.
No,
Yeah.
that's why it's called a yoke. They go like this,
But it's
and these guys go like this.
I'm sure it's a little bigger than that.
Why are you talking down to him?
I'm not talking down to him at all.
He's done some cool shit in his
Right.
life.
Which is better? That's which is
Goddamn fighter pilot.
better. Have you flown both?
I've never flown a heavy. No, flown in a heavy, but never flown. Actually, physically controlled it.
So that's a bigger plane then. With the,
Yeah,
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 big-
Would they let you?
If I
Obviously
had,
not now, but
Yeah, no, but if I had
Well, maybe now if
if
they're
I
drunk.
had an assignment or something, I mean,
yeah.
if I'd ever been on an airplane where there weren't passengers other than me, they would let me sit in the seat and let me do stuff, But it was, which is normal. I mean, we would take folks in the back seat of we'd have the family models, the 2-seat versions, and put someone in the back
Family
seat.
model.
Really?
Yeah. And we would let them. We would always let everybody fly. Hey man, give it a try. They changed the rules now. You can't.
Top Gun.
If you have a civilian on, they can't touch.
They
they're not
can't
supposed to
touch it,
the
right?
stick,
Yeah.
But,
Okay, so hold on, real quick. I don't mean
Take
to cut
that
you
over.
off.
Yeah,
Actually,
no,
go back with these stories. And then I have a follow-up.
Where is the stick located?
Okay,
is
he's
every
still-
okay
We're
We
over
know
that.
where it's at, Patrick.
Right.
We're just giving you shit.
in the
Hey, fuck all you guys. I'm waiting to hear what Kevin has to
in
say.
the F-16, it's a side stick controller. It's over
Okay.
here, but everything else is in the middle.
Okay.
You didn't
Okay.
go like this.
Yeah.
You just went straight for it.
Come on, man.
Okay, so
This is a clean show.
right.
Do you even know what a plane is?
Oh my god. Here we go.
The
So-
Older brothers would.
Yeah.
So
Orville Redenbacher.
this is the shit we have to deal with. So my dad was a yoke guy.
Yep.
My uncle was a stick guy. My uncle was an F-18 guy. And in fact, I talked to him today, and he wanted me to ask how the B crew was doing.
I don't know, man. The Blue Angels aren't here right now.
That's what I'm hoping for. He's going to listen to this, and he's going to hear that.
I couldn't tell you.
Because
I'm sure they're practicing.
right?
He-
Hey, they are Navy guys, right? How?
Yeah, just to be clear, you don't win wars landing on a boat.
No, right. Yes, let's clarify. Let's clarify. So for my Uncle Ty who is listening, know that the B squad is practicing right now.
I don't know Uncle Ty, but when you see him, just walk up behind him. Hey, Kevin said to look for the pipper burns on the back of your neck. That's what we used to call it when you fly a little thing called the pipper. That's where you put on the target and shoot them down.
You shoot them down.
Yeah, so whenever you're fighting against somebody, you always joked about, pipper burns all over the back of your neck today.
Yeah, let them know you had them in your crosshairs.
That's right, exactly.
So one of the things, and I have asked my uncle many times in all the years of my existence, and he's been a fighter pilot, how he got his call sign. Call signs are very important
That's
to
a great
you
question,
guys.
actually.
And they're almost they're a rite of passage, but there's also like a sanctity to the names that you are given.
Yeah, I would agree with that, yeah.
So his call sign was Ghost.
Ghost.
That's a good one.
Why?
Like that.
Why?
Good
Yeah,
fucking
it
life.
has to have a story.
Why?
There's a
Yeah,
story,
why?
yeah.
You just have
He's never
your
told
Uncle
you the
Ty on?
story?
Oh,
His, and this is why I'm getting to this.
Yeah.
Hold on! I'm trying to keep the podcast suspenseful.
I feel like we got the other Patrick.
He's the one who can't breathe.
Yeah.
Oh,
It takes him 80 minutes to get to the point.
So, your call sign is Joker.
Yes.
So when I asked my uncle, hey, how did you get Ghost? He said, well, were you there? And I said, no. And he goes, then there's no need for you to know.
Oh, okay.
Damn.
So there's
What
some
a
secrecy.
I'd
to
rather hang out
He
with
is
his
an
brother.
asshole.
Yeah.
He is an asshole.
Right.
But so Joker.
Mhm.
Obviously, there's a story behind Joker. How did Kevin Mastin become Joker?
But in my first fighter squadron, it took very little to get me up on a stage with a microphone and start entertaining, playing jokes and stuff. Just always cracking jokes, just constantly cracking jokes and making people laugh. And when I went to my naming ceremony, they had like the choices were like Joker, Smiley, and something else. I forgot what it was, but yeah, they all decided on Joker. And it's
stuck.
And, oh yeah, it's stuck,
Yeah.
Do other people get to recommend names? Is that why there's 3 options?
Yeah. So what happens when you're in your squadron? Is you go through your mission ready. Okay, so you know how to fly the airplane. You get to your first operational unit, and then you have to go through your mission checkout, which is like going through training all over again. And then that takes 4 or 5 months to get through that, depending on a few things. But as you're going through your training and you're getting signed off to go to combat, now you're a full up round. You can go to combat if we get called up. The whole time, anything that's happening, people are remembering. And in the weapon shop, when your naming ceremony is about to happen, it's coming up in a couple weeks, they have a dry erase board and people can just write up whatever they think your name should be. And then on the day of the naming ceremony, which
So do they go by with like a little, okay, hey, this one gets a vote.
Was there
Well,
some
here's
you don't
what
want to
happens.
repeat in front of children and kids?
well, sometimes, yeah, some of them can be. So what they do is on Friday night at the bar, squadron bar, each squadron had a bar in the squadron, which now is called the Heritage Room for political correctness, but it's a bar, and the whole squadron's there, and you have the chairman that runs it, who's typically the weapons officer. Squadron commander's there, and they put all the names up, and there's a whole thing you go through, man. There's a whole lot of stuff that happens up to the point where you get the naming ceremony. When they start the ceremony, the weapons officer says, all right, man, starting at the top. All right, who put this name up here? And whoever put the name up have to raise your hand and go, hey, man, I put the name up here. Okay, what's the story? And they tell the story.
Okay.
And then they go through every single name.
Wow.
And then they go back through and they say, all right, this one stays on or it comes off. And depending, like if they say,
Shitbag.
Okay, yeah, shitbag. People kind of go,
Hey, don't give people your call sign.
yeah,
Sorry.
Yeah.
My fault.
Yeah.
My fault.
So they'll, but they,
You guys start calling me that at work.
I'm going to.
SB. Are you there?
Sierra Bravo. Yeah, man. So they'll go up there and they kind of go, hey, keep it on, or who wants to keep it on? People go, it's that, and they just wipe it off. And then if they go, how about this one? Yeah, keep it on. Well, then it goes through this round. Well, then it gets to the point where you can drink a name back on, or you can drink it off.
Oh, wow.
So you can tell the guys that come in, like, you always put up fake names, right?
They just want to drink.
Yeah, so the thing is, like some you'll see the naming ceremony, like Moto. Hey, this guy's master of the obvious, right? Or the other one is Wedge, simplest tool known to man. Right? That's why some guys. So you put all these names up, and I'll tell you, man, one of the funniest ones. It was a guy. He was one of my students in the F-15. And when you're fighting, if you have a radio problem, you can't talk to anybody. You rock your wings. You just keep rocking. They call knock it off. Everybody rejoins. You get together and then find out what's going on. So we're doing this guy's naming ceremony. We get right down to the point we're going to give him his name, and someone goes, "Point of order." He goes, "Why? Because I got a story." He tells the story. They were fighting. They went to the merge, and he's rocking his wings. So rejoins on the guy, and the guy does this with his hand like this. I can't hear and I can't speak. Can't hear, can't speak. My radio's out.
Okay.
So they do the battle damage check. They bring him home. They land. They taxi in. It's the F-15. So the crew chief comes out, tells them, hey, man, shut down the number one motor, which is the left motor, shuts the motor down, raises the canopy, puts a ladder on, walks up there, looks at the guy and goes, yeah, turns the radio on. So the thing is so everybody's like, just like you're doing right now. Everybody's like, "Ah!" You know, I go, what do we call him? And someone goes, I know, let's call him effing idiot guy. So the thing is the squadron commander goes like, idiot guy, break ready, because that takes too long. We'll just shorten it. We're gonna call him Fig. So that was his name was Fig. For effing
Nice.
idiot guy.
Nice.
That's good.
Yeah,
That is
so-
good.
Wow.
But and some of the names, I think probably one of the worst names I ever saw was stationed at Mount Home. He's a young captain. He gets up to do a brief, and he's like, "Good afternoon. I am Captain Fudge Packer." His last name was Packer. His call sign was Fudge. Yeah.
Oh, that's so good.
So, but I mean, the names are funny, man. When you get names, and it's funny too because people give the stories behind their names. And sometimes you're not getting the real story because
You had to be there, I'm sure.
well,
Yeah.
you had to be there, or
Yeah.
sometimes it's just like, you know, people don't want their kids knowing.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
it's
Right.
like wait a minute,
Yeah.
well, it's like Benjo, okay?
Yeah.
Like the name Benjo. Well, over in Korea, they have Benjo.
Benjo ditches.
Yeah, that's where
They go take a shit.
Okay.
Yeah, so and those two, you know, a guy flew with man, he got all freaking plastered one night, freaking fell in a Benjo ditch.
Oh,
God. We had
So that's
Benjo
his
ditches
call.
in Okinawa. We had
Yeah.
Benjo ditches. I was just talking about
Yeah.
Benjo ditches yesterday.
Yeah,
at
so
work.
when you get the name, how'd you get the name Benjo? Oh, it was in Korea. Yeah. So yeah, but it's like
Oh, wow.
So it's a rite of passage.
it
for
is,
you
yeah,
guys.
it is, yeah, and it dates back to World War One.
Yeah,
it dates all the way
okay.
back to World War One.
Well, and the funny thing, you know, when we were in Okinawa, my uncle, who is a Marine, which is even more interesting about him, but he's a Marine fighter pilot, right?
Yeah.
There, that's a small group.
It
of,
is. Yeah,
That's a small group
real
of guys.
small, yeah.
But he came over to Okinawa, and I got a night to hang out with all of these Marine fighter pilots, and none of them, yeah, like, and my uncle, when I asked him, of course, like I mentioned earlier, you weren't there, and so I would ask his buddies, like, hey, and they're like, oh, you weren't there, and so my uncle, who was he was the commander, and he's like, hey, Ranch, why don't you tell my nephew how you got your name? And this guy, like, all of a sudden, like, everybody goes quiet. You fighter pilots are a different breed, right?
Yeah.
And everybody goes quiet, and he kind of sits there, and he's like, well, and you will know the place when I tell you, but it's out. It's I don't know if it was Red Flag in
No, I know
Nevada.
exactly what you're talking about.
Already.
Ranch in Vegas. Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry, and it's in Nevada, but it's up on the range north of Dallas.
Yeah, and they have there's a rancher out
Yeah,
there
Strip.
Yeah.
who
Yeah.
yeah
The bunny
yeah,
ranch?
yeah.
I know exactly what you're talking about too.
So you guys obviously you have these big meetings about where you
You didn't say no.
Can't
and can fly. I
Yeah.
did right. But so there's this big ranch out there. Obviously, you know where
it's
it
actually
is.
called ranch.
Yeah.
There's a little
Everybody
warnings.
knows.
Yeah, you got to stay
Yeah.
away from it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So man, that's funny that you know this. So Ranch is telling me this story. I'm like, how does this happen? And they're like, well, we're playing war games, and we're in the middle of the desert, like in the middle of fucking nowhere. And he's out flying around, and they're like, hey, where are you? And he's like, I'm over this ranch somewhere. Like, I've been flying over this ranch for like the last 5 minutes. And he's like, and there's a guy that is down there that I can see just having a shit fit. And that's how I got the name Ranch. Because I got back, and I guess it's a big deal.
It's a huge deal,
It's a
yeah.
big deal that this guy was flying over this.
Yeah.
Is that technically a no-fly zone?
It's a
then?
no-fly.
Like, I-
Yeah, right.
Yeah, there's certain ranches, certain houses. I think one of the funniest things is there was a guy lived in a trailer out there. He had not a trailer camping trailer, but like a
Double
however
wide.
long. Well, it was a single wide, but 40 feet long, 50 feet
Yeah,
long.
modified.
Modified.
Modified single wide.
Modified single wide. So he's
Patrick knows all about
I do know all that.
So he's so long story short, and this guy is where he lived became a no-fly area, and the way it became a no-fly area is he's got his VHS records how long ago it was. He's like, well, here they come. I can see him, and his two F4s right on the freaking dirt, and they're bam right over his house. He's like, boom, falls down, looks back, his windows are smashed. So, but he was really cool about it. Just took the VHS tape, drove to the base, came on the base, asked to go see the wing commander. Hey,
Here's my VHS tape.
and they're like, but long story short on this one is, all right, man, write him a check.
Yeah.
Get him in the
Let's smooth this over real quick. Yeah.
And then that became a little red circle on all the maps. Yeah, stay away from that guy's house.
So you guys played war games out there as
we
well?
did, yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
I guess kind of backtracking to your call sign.
Yeah.
Have there been previous Jokers? I'm sure. Or-
I've met one other guy named Joker.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, there's others around. Yeah. But usually, so the thing is, like, depending on the call sign, like the guy that I met, his Joker came from when you're flying. So your fuel, you never talked about gas. It was always how many pounds of gas you had left, right?
Okay.
So if Joker was a fuel that was above bingo, once you hit bingo, you got to head home, because if you don't head home, you could run out of gas. Joker is to get you, okay, hey man, I just hit Joker. Let's start wrapping things up so I can head home by the time I hit bingo gas.
Okay.
And he got his from overflying Joker. He's calling Joker when he's actually bingo, and then ended up, coming home on fumes.
So is
That's how he got
that
his
trusting the gauge on your car when it says 27
50
miles to go?
Yeah. You're sweating bullets.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mine's on
exactly.
W.
My shit says like 20 miles right now.
Yeah.
Hey, I'll make it draw next
wait,
week.
hold on.
I was gonna say,
Hold
you
on.
do pro work.
You weren't the one that dumped it off of Powers, were you? Powers and
No, hell no.
He's a hell no.
No, not only no, but hell
Hey,
no.
we're not trying to throw him under the
Yeah.
bus on this.
Oh, sorry.
No, that was not. That
You had to
was
go
not
flag
me.
that
No.
whole thing too.
Did you?
Yeah. Oh, that was
shut
crazy.
everything down.
That was
They were cussing us
But it
out.
was
Well, I
it
think
was a
anytime
malfunction,
a plane
though,
was-
wasn't it?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he didn't run out of gas. He didn't run out of fuel. What
Okay.
happened was a throttle linkage problem.
Yeah.
It was a throttle. Well, I say a throttle linkage in the F-16 on the throttle. Because when you're fighting, it's really violent, and when you bring the throttle back, if you're ripping the thing back to idle, there's a little pinky switch that's on there that you have to pull and then lift the throttle up and then pull it back to shut the engine down.
Oh wow.
And when they were coming back to land, he pitched out to land, pulled the throttle back, and that linkage was broken. It actually shut the engine down.
Oh,
shit.
And then,
wow.
as soon as the engine started shutting down, the restart on the F-16 is you go back to full blower.
Full throttle, right?
Go full, and then you igniters, it dumps fuel in, but the thing did not.
Didn't
Didn't re-engage in
Re-engage.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's when he just went and punched. That's why the airplane was intact, because it was he had the gear down. He was trimmed up to land, and that's
Okay.
why the thing just glided in and set.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
wow.
He was nice to land in
when-
that field.
Yeah,
Yeah.
when you
Sure.
think
Yeah,
about
it
it,
was-
when you think about it, he did all right.
I did good. Yeah.
He did all right.
He did nice.
He did. He,
He said, I
You
did
know-
all right.
He
Well,
did.
He said, I did good.
all right. Well, your secret's safe with us.
Yeah, he knows a lot about that leakage.
Yeah,
I
you
want
know,
to go say nothing.
This is what happened, guys.
Yeah,
I'll tell
the
you.
funny thing is, they never published that report.
You won't find my name on any of those reports. Oh man. So my last question to you.
It's not your last. You know.
Turn my back to you, Kevin. Kevin's my new drinking buddy.
Yeah.
Go fuck yourself. Favorite flight.
Oh man. Favorite flight I ever had. Well, I'll tell you, my favorite flight I ever had was with a guy that Loco Lopez. Loco's his call sign. Loco, when I was a squadron commander, was
Makes sense.
brand new. Just came in. Just came in the Air Force. He had no flying time, and he gets on my schedule, and he said he just wanted to come in and talk to me. And he said, "Hey, I want to be a fighter pilot. What do I have to do to be successful to be able to do that?" And we talked in my office for about an hour and a half. And a great freaking dude. His family were immigrants from, I forgot which islands, in some island in the Virgin Island area, whatever. But they came to the U.S., right? So, so we talk about this. Okay, now fast forward, I become the vice wing commander at Langley Air Force Base, first fighter wing. I'm getting my local area checkout. Who do you think my instructor is?
Oh no.
It's Loco Lopez. He's now my instructor, right? So we go out and we had such a freaking great time. It was we were doing what they call high aspect BFM, where you start 2 miles, mile and a half, 2 miles apart, check away to the point where you're just about to lose visual of the guy, then you just turn in and fights on. If you could imagine, it's like, okay, you two are pissed at each other. All right, man, you get 100 yards over there. You guys get 100 yards from each other. All right, ready, fight! And you guys just a full sprint at each other and start swinging,
man.
right? So that's what it's like. So we do this fight. It was freaking awesome. We finish the sortie. We finish all the fighting. We rejoin. We do the battle damage check. And then he tries to pass the lead to me to lead us home. And the reason is because I'm the vice wing commander, right? So, hey, you should lead us home kind of thing. It's kind of a respect thing, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
So he does this. This is the sign for, take the lead. Hey, take the lead. Number 2. I looked at him. I shake him off. He kind of looks at me. He's like, does it again. I'm like, nope, didn't take it. And I stayed on his wing. He's like, okay, so we come back, we land. And I get choked up sometimes when I tell the story, but it's like, we land, we go back, we're in the debrief, and he asked me, sir, how come you didn't take the lead? I said, Loco, think about it. You sat in my office with that much flying time.
Yep.
Today, you were my instructor. And I flew on your wing in the F-15 coming up at Langley Air Force Base. Full circle. Yeah, and that's what I always tell people, man. You gotta take care of everybody you're around because you don't know where the future is going to take you. But anyways, Loco's he's an outstanding freaking guy. And then the next time I saw him, I'd already retired. My daughter was going to college at RIT in New York, and I was moving her there. And I see this F-22 fly over, and I'm like, "What was an F-22 doing in Rochester?" Then I realized, oh, there's an air show. So I look, F-22 demo team. Well, Loco was the F-22 demo pilot. So I called him up and got to go hang with him at the air show and stuff. It's
awesome!
Wow.
Yeah, good dude, man. Freaking awesome guy. But that's the most memorable for me because, like I say, this guy again, no flying time, just starting out, and then he became my instructor, which was cool.
That's how cool, right? Yeah.
Right.
Well, thank you.
Cool, I mean, there's plenty of. I mean, there's all kinds of stories.
You want to fight?
What's that?
Oh,
I did, of course.
no question.
Next week we're having Loco on.
Yeah. You got his number. We're calling him up right
Of course
now.
you want. You didn't see him land that play in the field?
Right. Yeah.
man.
So, have you ever taken? You know how they do usually around Super Bowl, they take a celebrity or a NFL player or somebody up in the plane. Have you ever done that? Taken somebody with you?
I've never actually had a celebrity in my plane, but we did the Super Bowl in 2001. We did in Tampa.
Okay.
And that we got to hang around with all those people, which was a lot of fun. But so I got on the Thunderbirds. The advanced pilot narrator, he did all the media stuff. Whenever they had media folks, any of the famous folks, he's the one that always flew them. That was his job to do that because we had other stuff we were doing. And but we always got to meet everybody that flew, and it was really,
that's cool.
Yeah, I have to sit back sometime and really kind of sit back and think about it. Someone says, "Hey, did you ever meet whatever?" I have to kind of go, "Yeah, I did. Yeah, I totally forgot.
Right.
I forgot that I did that."
Well,
but
and growing up an Air Force brat, right? Like the Thunderbirds were it, right? Like they're the cream. I grew up because of course, my dad's a pilot, and regardless if he's a yoker or a sticker,
Right.
Now
we got that out of the way.
Yeah. It's
this or this.
You know,
Gotta clear that up.
Yeah.
Patrick just throwing slurs around.
Hey, it started the first night, right?
Get out of the way.
Yeah, I
Get out of
started
the way,
the
right.
first night.
You're right.
But there's a camaraderie between all of you.
Oh, yeah.
Now, did you ever try to get somebody sick when they rode with you?
No, never tried. No, I always whenever I
tried.
flew,
I'm sure they did.
Right? Some people are weak stuff.
Somebody threw up.
I definitely had people throw up. But I always wanted people to enjoy the flight.
Yeah.
And and this is your flight. We'll do as much or as little as you want to do.
Yeah.
You know, I will tell you, I flew a crew chief up when I was stationed at Mount Helm. This was funny because he was a guy that was known as always freaking cracking jokes and giving people a hard time. And everybody's like, "Hey, man, make him puke his guts out. Make him puke his guts out." You know. So what we did is I told him, I said, "Man, everybody wants me to make you puke." You know. So what we did is we took a can of chunky soup and we put it in a puke bag.
I feel like that's grosser than
So what we did is we came back from the flight. You know, the whole squadron's out there, and as we got close to where we were going to park, I said, all right, man, they can start seeing you. So he put his hands up on the rails and just hung his head like this. And we taxied, and he's got his head down like this the whole time. And everybody's like, yeah. They're all high-five and everything. They raise the canopy up. The crew chief that's on the ground comes up, puts the ladder up to his back seat. And he says, hey, man, hand me your helmet. And he sits there and he takes his bag and just dumps it over the side. It's like, oh. It was so much fun. He was just covered. Dude, it was just chunky soup. And I think the soup, if I remember, I say chunky soup. I think it was like clam chowder. I think.
Yeah.
That's not even worse.
Of course, yeah.
So when was the point where you said, I want to be a pilot?
It was, okay, so.
Was it like when you're a little kid, or was it?
No, man. No, I grew up on a small farm. My dad, welder fabricator, mom, secretary at the high school. My first ride in airplanes when I went to basic training. And I always joke and tell people, my brother and I, Tim and I were closest in age. There was 5 of us all together. But my brother Tim and I were closest in age. We had 2 dress shirts that we shared, and we didn't have anything, man. I mean, when I say didn't have anything, we grew up and we had fun growing up. We had access to things that other kids didn't have, meaning like growing up on the farm, and we had mini bikes and go-karts and tractors and all that, field cars and all that kind of stuff. But we didn't have all the other stuff, right? So for me, I knew I wanted to join the military. Mom and dad supported it, but they said, hey, try college and see what you think of college first. So I went to community college for a semester. Halfway through, I'm like, I ain't freaking doing this, Withdrew from 2 classes, banged out a 2.17 GPA in the classes that I did.
Right in my zone, right there, right where I am. That's why I'm a surveyor today.
It's like a D plus with a little butter on it.
That's it. Oh my God, it really is.
I like that.
It really is.
So, but I went and talked to every branch of the military, including the Coast Guard. Air Force would get me in the quickest. And so here's the thing, back it up. When I was growing up, because my mom was a secretary at the high school, I would go down and see her sometime at lunchtime, and the guy from Xerox would be in there fixing the copy machine, which was about the size of this table plus another table.
Oh, yeah, those things are
massive.
massive.
Right?
All ones.
And I'm like, hey, man, how do you get a job like this? This is freaking cool, because I love turning wrenches. I love fixing stuff. And he said, hey, man, go to tech school or go in the military. If you go military, go Air Force or Navy. Kind of gave me the background there. So decided on the Air Force. First ride was going to basic training. And then when I got to Lackland Air Force Base in San Antonio, Texas, I mean, there's airplanes on display everywhere. And the parade field where you march was surrounded by airplanes. So about the 4th or 5th week of training, they gave us a 3-hour pass. We could walk anywhere we wanted to on base. So I went right to the parade field, spent all 3 hours looking at all the airplanes. Got to tech school, again, around airplanes there. And it was really when I got to Fairchild Air Force Base in Spokane, Washington. They had a program called Social Actions Training. And it's kind of like modern day HR. But it was just making you aware of all the stuff that was happening, racial stuff and things like that, to make sure that you weren't being an idiot.
That's a good thing. That's a good thing.
It was good because you got to realize too. When I came in, man, we saw a lot of Vietnam era guys. I went to tech school with guys that were in Vietnam. That guy had a Purple Heart in Vietnam that was in my tech school class. Was a tech sergeant, and so there was a guy by the name of Dave Offeld, AFFELDT. He was the first officer that ever spoke with me. I've been spoken at.
Right, sure.
But never with, right?
Yep.
And he just pulled me aside on a break on this class. He goes, hey, man, you're in the Air Force now. What's your plan? I'm like, sir, what do you mean? He goes, what's your plan? What are you going to do with yourself? You're in the Air Force now. And I'm looking at these wings on his chest, and I'm like, I mean, you fly airplanes. How do you fly airplanes? And I found out he was enlisted first and then finished college and then got commissioned, and then he was flying B-52s. And I said, how do you go from being enlisted to being an officer and flying airplanes? He's like, he goes, what are you doing for? He goes,
he's slow.
Yeah. he's like, hey, man, he goes, what are you doing for dinner on Sunday? And I said, just eating at the chow hall. And he goes, all right, man, here's my address on base. You're going to come over to my house. You're going to go to church with my wife and I and the kids. And and then afterwards, we're going to talk about it. So I went over and did it. We sat right at his table, just all like this. And he had a manila pad, and he said, here's your options: Officer Training School, Air Force Academy, ROTC. Laid everything out. He goes, I've already called the education office. They're waiting for you to come over there and talk to a counselor.
Whoa.
So went over and talked to a counselor, and then I talked to my supervisor, who was a Master Sergeant, Kurt Kimbling, and told him what I wanted to do. And he said, "Are you serious about it?" And I said, "I'm dead serious about it." He said, "All right, you're going to take Algebra 101, you're taking English 101. If you don't get A's in both classes, I
You're
will
done.
not sign another tuition waiver for you."
Wow.
Yep.
And then went over and did that, and that's what got the spark started. And then it just went on. There's two stories here too. I want to make sure I tell you about. So when I had my pilot slot, getting my pilot slot, I sent a letter to every university in the U.S. that had an Air Force or LTC detachment. And I tell you this because I have a letter still at home from Wells College in Aurora, New York, that said, "Dear Sergeant Mastin, we appreciate your interest in our university. However, we cannot encourage you to attend since we are a university for women. Good luck in your future." I had no idea. I went to the education office and said, "Hey, I need a list of every university has an ROTC detachment."
So hey, that
Hey,
worked out real well for you.
It's co-ed. Not
You know,
school is
the
not.
men to women ratio was pretty good.
It's in your favor.
You might have been the first.
I know.
Yeah, you could have set the standard.
Yeah. So I tell you the story about Dave Offel because as I'm talking with him, his 2-year-old son is sitting on my knee, Jeremy, and we're sitting there just having this conversation. His 2-year-old son's there, right? The reason I tell you that is if you look up Jeremy Offel, he's a 3-time World Series pitcher, got 3 World Series rings with the Giants. Was drafted out of high school, spent a few years in the minors, then went to Kansas City for a few years, or 5-6 years, maybe I can't remember. Came to Colorado, went to the World Series with them, but they got spanked. And then went to the Reds.
Let's not talk about that.
Yeah, went to the Reds, and then he ended up out in San Francisco. And after his 3rd World Series ring, that's when he was retired. Now he has a brewery in Texas called Free Roam Brewing, and it's and that was just really cool. If you ever want to read a story, it's about the buffalo and cows versus buffaloes. If there's a thunderstorm, buffalo will walk into the storm because they know if they do, they'll get out of it on the other side, where cows will follow the storm and just get whacked the whole time.
Wow.
So he does a lot of cool stuff.
That's
Yeah.
That's why I like the Bills, baby. That's why I like the Bills.
Bills, baby, give me some of that.
That's what I'm talking about.
Right in the storm, man.
Yeah.
So,
Head first in the storm.
yeah,
Hey, we
Still
beat-
gonna lose.
That's why we beat y'all.
Yeah.
yeah,
Hey, regular season, you got us.
Right,
Regular season.
Calm down.
But this,
You know he gets me fired up.
I know he does. I know. He gets everyone fired up. Come on. He's got that knack about him.
But
Another
so my love of flying didn't happen until I went in the Air Force.
That's wild.
Because flying airplanes, that wasn't anything that was even on my radar. I was just gonna get. I needed to learn to get a good job.
The crazy part about that story is not that you ended up flying, is that some random guy took his time to single you out and pull you to the side and mentor you.
What's
really.
nice about that as well is you've continued to keep that mindset.
That's true too.
These things happen to you because somebody reached out, and now you continue to.
It's
That's
paying it
100%.
forward, right?
Yeah,
It's
you're-
paying it forward.
Yeah, Greg, you're absolutely. It's 100% accurate, man. Anytime I can help anybody, I will do it. Now, of course, it's not always. You're not always gonna win on it. You know what I mean? Sometimes you help somebody out and they end up crashing and burning. You know,
Like I told you yesterday, I hate myself for being so nice and honest, right? Because we're talking about something else.
Yep.
Yeah.
But in the end, that's the right way to do it.
Yeah.
You know, there's
And that's the
another.
way I was raised. Just do it right.
Yeah.
There's another story too, man. A guy named Tony Carr. Tony was a crew chief on the F-15, and I remember going out to see Tony one time. He actually wrote a little thing on LinkedIn about him and I, which I thought was kind of cool of him to do. But he, as a crew chief, I went out to fly one day, and I look. He's like on his little, the little chairs they have out by the jets. He's sitting over like this. And he's got the bottom drawer on his toolbox pulled out, and I'm like, I sneak up behind him. I'm like, Tony. He's like, whoa, and he slams the door. So I'm like, what are you doing, man? What's in the drawer?
I did that same thing when my mom walked in.
Yeah, me too. Every one of us did.
Right.
Yeah. So, but anyway, he goes, oh man, go. He pulls a book. He's like studying for a test. He's going to college.
Okay.
So, we started talking about a lot of stuff. And anyways, long story short, Tony's story is he ended up finishing college, went to OTS, flew in the Air Force, was a C-17 pilot, and then when he retired, went to Harvard, became a lawyer, and he was an attorney for Amazon for several years, and then and now he just does a lot of writing on leadership and other things. You know,
Wow.
it's just so I tell you, you never know, man. When you meet somebody, one of my favorite commercials I've ever seen, and I can't find it on YouTube now, but they have these guys like an airport, whatever it is. There's a guy sitting there, like reading his newspaper. Guy sits down next to him. The guy reading the newspaper crosses his legs and he's got like polka dot socks on. The guy kind of looks at him like, gets up and walks away. And it says, $1 million deal, just lost. Because this guy just judged that dude off his socks, right?
Yep.
So that's why when you see some of these folks, man, I mean, the thing is, I think the difference between people that are in certain positions and people that are not is because people weren't given that opportunity. Now, here's the thing too, though: you never drag somebody, you don't put a ring in someone's nose and drag them to the opportunity.
Right.
Yep.
But you find that person that, hey, man, if you want to freaking do this, I'm all in.
I'm all in.
Yeah.
I'll help you with whatever you want to do. I'm not going to drag you through it though. But if you show me you want to do it, man,
I will
open
help
doors
you
for it. And I'll help you with anything I can.
Remember when I used to call you New Boots?
Yeah, that's right.
And then I didn't know who he was. And nobody told me nothing.
Nobody said anything.
Nobody told
Why
me
would they? I wouldn't have.
And then I
That's
come
pretty
in
funny.
one day and I'm like, hey. Because I just come in and just mess with him every day, joke
Right.
with him in whatever way. He joked back and then I go on my day.
Joker.
Right.
Joker.
Yeah.
Then I came in one day and I'm like, hey,
Hidden.
where's New Boots? And they were like, who? the guy that was sitting right there. He always sits right there. They was like, the director? And I was like, what?
Who are you talking about?
Right. They was like, yeah, that's the director. And I was like, how come y'all didn't tell me I was the director? Like, I would have never came in and been messing with him like that. They was like, oh, no, it's funny.
No, but okay. And
But see, here's the other thing to that is that you're very approachable.
Right.
You are very
He was cool.
down
That's why I
to
started talking to
you
him.
know. So
That's why I started
Yeah.
talking to him anyway. I
Yeah.
came in and said, what's up to him? He said, what's up? And I just
and this is the thing. And not to get off track, but I think that we will agree with this with you because we do have a personal relationship with you, and we won't. I'm gonna get. I'm gonna get more,
dude, it was water.
I'm gonna get more. You're a white collar mind with a blue collar heart.
I'm total blue collar.
That's actually a good way to put
That
it.
was. That is a
That's
good way to
great
put
way to put it.
maybe give him something else to drink.
Yeah, give us some more.
Yeah, because it's I'm ready now. But oh yeah, thank you, Kevin. But you're a little late.
Yeah,
So
give me two actually.
Yeah, okay, great.
but I think that is one of the things that yeah okay you
Yeah.
just no I know
Yeah.
What- don't worry, we're not getting you loaded.
You trying to take him home tonight?
Hey, you know, hey, don't ask,
you gotta
don't
buy
tell,
him.
right?
You gotta buy him dinner first.
It isn't fraternization anymore.
That's right. Speaking of fraternization,
Oh no.
Oh, here we go.
no, but so
Here we go.
Yeah,
Here we go.
So we're in Japan. My dad's a squadron commander. I
I'm
meet.
trying. Hold on a second.
Yeah.
This episode of the podcast is brought to you by.
Oh, I wish.
No,
I wish. Oh man. I wish.
Yeah, we're getting there.
Right.
Trying.
Get
Hey, if there's anyone that can do it,
Right.
Oh, absolutely. I'm sure you know somebody there.
if not, he'll find them.
That's right.
But I met this girl. I met this girl, and Lucy was her name, and she was.
Wasn't this a song?
Is this a real story?
Lucy in the
This is
Sky
a-
with Diamonds.
Yeah.
Oh
Lucy and
my
the
God!
Sky
Yeah,
with
and
Diamonds.
she was a year older than me, and my buddies introduced me to her outside of the
Hey,
base.
you know Kirby's going to see this, right?
Yeah,
Right,
of course.
I was gonna say,
That's fine. That's fine. So,
Sorry, Herb.
Yeah. Get him, Kirby.
We're sorry, he's not.
Yeah. I'm gonna get my ass kicked later. But so and in Japan we could drink when we were 18.
Yeah.
So I would go out and I would drink with some of the guys that that were in my dad's squadron because we're roughly the same age. Well, then I meet Lucy, and I'm like, man, this girl is the shit. And come to find out.
Something right. I don't like where this is going.
Well,
Actually, who's the guy on YouTube? Hold up.
Yeah. Well, then come to find out, my dad comes to me, and my dad's like, hey, and I know how you are about rumors, right?
Yeah.
My dad is the same way. my dad comes to me and he's like, hey, you're dating a girl named Lucy. And I was like, how do you know this? And he's like, well, Lucy happens to work for me.
Oh.
And I was like, what? And he's like, yeah, Lucy is in the squadron, and you can't see her anymore. And I'm like thinking to myself,
You're right, Dad. I'm so loud. I can't.
yeah. I'm like,
man.
I'm looking at him, and I'm thinking in the back of my head, like, you don't understand, Dad. Like, you don't.
Dad, I love her.
You don't get it.
Any idea what we did already?
Yeah, Dad, you can't do this to me.
I'm gonna be a father.
Holy cow! If I would have said that to my dad, he would have fucking shit. Like literally right there. But he's like, and this is when I learned about fraternization.
Yeah.
He's like, I can't. You can't. And I was like, why can't I date her, Dad? And he's like, well, she works for me. And the thing is, if she fucks up and I reprimand her, you know, or if she fucks up and I don't reprimand the crew,
It's favoritism. Because she's dating my son.
You are putting me in a very bad position. And I was like, damn. And then he explained to me fraternization, and I was like, but Dad, but Dad,
Kick her out.
Yeah, come on. But yeah, it was the best 3 weeks of my life until I got married, of course. But
Good save, man.
Thank you. Right.
Right in the camera and say that.
But yeah. I realized that shit is real.
Yeah.
Like you don't think about these things, but then all of a sudden you're like, yeah, I guess I can't. Why can't you see me anymore? My dad said.
That's the thing you always joke about, man. In leadership positions, 2 ways to get yourself in trouble. One is money. The other one is sleeping with the help.
Yeah.
Right.
You do that, man, and you're.
I think we had both of those, didn't we?
Career, right? Yeah. Right. Don't dip your pen in company ink.
That's right.
What does that mean? Yeah. But so you grew up on a farm.
Small farm, yeah. My grandfather was a dairy farmer. When he passed away, we moved on the farm, and then we had a few cows, sheep, pig. Had some rabbits,
Yeah.
But it was more to keep us. I think it was funny.
They just fucking migrated there. They didn't want it. They just migrated there.
I think it was more to keep my brothers out of trouble, man. Keep us busy doing stuff.
Is it just? It's all boys?
No. I got two older brothers and an older sister and a younger sister.
Okay.
Yep.
And are they still in the upstate New York area?
My brother Randy and his family, his wife and his whole family, they're all up in the Finger Lakes area.
Okay.
But then the rest of my siblings are down in North Carolina.
Alexa, stop.
Yeah, they're down in Raleigh, Durham area, and over in Winston-Salem.
Okay.
How often do you go see them? Are you all still close?
Yeah, we're very close. Yeah.
That's good.
Matter of fact, we got a text string. All my siblings are on, and my sister-in-laws are on. We rarely go more than a couple days without some sort of exchange between each other. And I mean, a lot of it was me with Mom passing away this summer too. I mean, that has really ramped up a lot. As far as how much we're in contact. But as far as getting together, we get together as much as we can.
Sure.
But what's really weird now, the dynamic. I mean, we sold Mom's house today. Excuse me. So it's now that anchor's not there anymore. I still own. I own 54 acres there though. When Mom and Dad were selling, I bought 54 acres back in 1996 and built a little 12 by 16 off-grid cabin.
Nice.
And that's my sanctuary.
Yeah,
right.
Go there. Yeah.
You gotta have a place where you can get away.
Oh, it's awesome, man. So, but now though, I mean, it's with Mom not being there now. What's that?
Yeah.
Kokomo.
A little place called
Yeah.
Kokomo.
Yeah.
Place called Kokomo.
And I gotta tell you, man, if you guys are ever there, you want to roll up there, let me know, man. I'll give you the keys. 'Cause
Absolutely.
It is. It's.
You're gonna say that.
Wait.
Are we recording?
Look, are we recording? Yeah.
We're recording.
Yeah, we're recording. We might be
It's
taking-
legally binding.
Yeah,
right?
and you really, it's water. So
Oh, this-
it,
yeah.
it is mine.
No, it is. It's really strange to describe. I don't realize. I mean, I always know it's an awesome place, right? But whenever I've taken friends there or anything, that's when it really kind of reminds you of it's a freaking special place.
It's a special place,
Yeah,
right?
it is, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, sitting there one time, hearing all these birds, it's like, man, there's a lot of freaking birds out. So there's an app where you can listen to birds and it tells you what the birds are that are chirping.
Yeah.
And there were like 16 different breeds of birds up there yapping.
Oh, wow.
And it was beautiful. Yeah,
It's just
a cool place.
it puts your mind at ease.
Oh yeah, it is so. I mean, in the cabin, when you turn the lights out and go to bed,
No ambient light.
you can put your hand right here and you will not see a thing.
You'll see
That's
every
awesome.
star in the
It's-
universe.
it's- yeah, oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of the most whacked out things I ever saw was it was going to the cabin. It's nighttime, and I look up, and my first thought was, "Holy crap! It's an ICBM thing coming in," but it was a Starlink constellation that was going into orbit. If you guys have never seen one of those things live,
Wait,
it's freaking
hold on.
wild.
Yeah, what's it look like?
Hold on.
Yeah.
It is.
What do you remember about the year?
It would have been 2 years
Because
ago.
we talked about this before.
Oh!
Yeah, it was in May.
Yes.
It was May of 20. What is it? May of 22.
They saw it. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, May of 2022.
Me and Kirby talked about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
just
See,
talked
See, you
about it.
probably saw the thing. I mean,
Yeah.
you've seen it around the country. I mean, it was like you just see these things going. It's like, holy crap, what is that, man?
Yeah.
Wasn't no
Like,
goddamn
oh,
UFO. The whole story was bullshit.
Yeah.
I knew something was out.
Yeah.
Dude, I had a guy call me one time out here. He's had a complaint, and he's like, "Well, I know y'all watching me." I'm like, "What?" He goes, "Yeah, I went on that Google thing. I saw them maps. You're watching me right now. I'm outside my garage." I'm like, "Is that you?" I'm like, "I'm just kidding, man." I said, "I can't see it, man." Well, that's Google Earth. That's just a picture they
It's
take.
a
You know,
capture in time.
Actually, I have a question.
Yeah.
You know, you were a pilot, of course.
Yeah.
You ever seen anything that you can't explain
Yes.
flying? Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you care to share or no?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's nothing weird. I mean, it's just like, I mean, there's times like, I remember there's a couple times on radar in the F-15, you know, you lock something up and the thing just freaking like hyperspaces someplace. But I don't know if it was, you know, just something,
Space junk?
some anomaly or something that was
Right,
out there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there's certain things that it's funny because what's a UFO? Well, if you don't know what it is, it's a UFO.
Yeah,
you can't
yeah,
identify
yeah,
it.
identify
Right,
flying
So
objects.
It's got to
yeah.
be in the air, and you don't know what it is.
you don't know what it
Pretty
is.
much
Yeah,
it.
exactly. Yeah, it could be a Mylar balloon, right?
Right.
And it's but no, there's been a couple times where I've locked onto stuff where it just didn't make sense.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
who knows?
Right.
Right.
You know, what it is?
Right.
You know,
Do you,
I mean, oh,
do
go
you
ahead.
believe in UFOs?
Do I believe in them? I will tell you. I don't know if they're real or not, but I think it'd be really freaking cool if they were. I mean, if
Oh,
there
yeah,
was
of course
if there
they
was
would.
another alien race that's out there, and I had a chance to go someplace else, I'd freaking go for it.
Well,
I'd get out
okay.
and go.
Okay,
I
here we
mean,
go.
hold on.
it's
Hold
not-
on.
I
Kirby,
don't
you
know
dig
about
that?
that
Hold
all
on.
day.
I was gonna ask that question.
Yeah.
Hold up.
Yeah.
This might be too.
Top secret.
No, go
no,
for
no,
it, man.
no,
Go
not-
for
no,
it.
no, no.
Controversial?
Okay, Kevin.
Yes.
I'm just gonna say, would you fucking alien?
Oh my god.
I've never had a relationship with anybody that wasn't a citizen.
All right.
There you go. Okay,
Yeah.
that's
Good
fair.
enough.
All right, you have another question?
Okay, I have two. This is a two-parter.
Two-part.
Yeah.
What's
Try and make it quick.
the
You have to go.
What's your favorite plane that you've flown?
F-15.
And then, okay,
Oh, easy.
that was easy.
That was
Easy.
right, yeah.
And then,
Easy.
what plane would be like your dream plane to fly?
The F-22, the Raptor.
The
A
Raptor.
new
Yeah.
plane, huh?
Yeah, the Raptor.
Not even like an old like
Well, I take the
P-51 or.
I've actually flown P-51.
No
Yeah,
shit.
I did, yeah. I got a buddy of mine. A guy I was stationed with at Mountain Home. His family. Well, if you guys, okay, have you guys ever
we'll look it up here in
seen
a bit.
you ever heard of the photo from the Apollo 8 mission called Earthrise, where
Yes.
you see the moon
Yeah.
and you see the Earth in the back?
Yep.
So the guy that did that was General. He retired as General Anders. His son and I were stationed together at Mountain Home. He and his dad have a museum. His dad was killed in a crash here just recently. I say recently in the last several months, but they own a war museum up in like Bellingham, Washington, I think it is. And one of
No
my-
shit.
yeah, so one of my assignments that I had when I was at Langley, I oversaw all aerial events for the Air Force, and so I had to go up there. There was a new Sky Raider, an airplane called the Sky Raider. They were going to add to air shows for what we call the heritage flight, where they take warbirds and fly them in formation with modern fighters. And so I went up there. General Anders picked me up in this. Gosh, what the heck was the name of the airplane? I can't remember it now, but it's one that's it's an airplane they use up in Alaska, a little tail dragger, big engine on the front of it. So General Anders and I, the guy was the Apollo 8 astronaut. He and I are flying around. We land. I get out, I look at the Sky Raider, and then he looks at his son, who we called him BA, was his call sign. He's like, hey, and his real name was Greg. He's like, hey, Greg, why don't you guys just take the L3 over to take the airplane that we flew to the museum in, take it over to his house on one of the islands up in the San Juans up there in the Pacific Northwest. We picked up an L3 Bird Dog, which is a Vietnam airplane. I'm not sure if they flew those in Korea, but not in Vietnam. We flew that around. Then we got up in a World War II T-6 Texans, flew those. And then when it was time, when the day was over, it's time for me to go back. He said, hey, Greg, just take him back in the Mustang. So we flew the Mustang for like an hour and a half.
What?
And it was so freaking cool, man.
So
but I got to tell you, here's what was funny, though, is that, so here we are. I asked Greg, we're having lunch, and I go, Greg, what was it like growing up with your dad?
Yeah,
Your dad's an astronaut. I mean, what was that like, you know? And so we start joking. I go, let me guess. Dad, I got an A on my physics exam today. Yeah, son, and I've been to the moon. You know? Yeah, Dad, I'm the starting quarterback on the football team. Yeah, son, and I have been to the moon.
And back.
And back.
And back.
Yeah. So
I know we only got a few minutes.
Would you one more?
Yeah,
Go. What about an SR-71?
I'd love to fly that thing. I mean, if it's, I would love to fly that. I mean, here's the bottom line. Any airplane that gets you off the ground, I would love to fly.
Anything, huh?
You know, anything. Yeah, I mean, realistically, but I mean, the favorites. I mean, the F-18 was my favorite because it's like your first car, right? I mean, you could have had
My first
freaking.
car was a piece of shit.
But you know what?
I'll
The
get
thing
you that
is,
tomorrow.
You remember it.
for the rest of
remember
your,
it.
but the rest
I'll
of your
never buy
life,
one.
well, yeah, but there's going to come a time in your life you're going to look on Facebook and go, "My God, there's one for sale."
Yeah.
Maybe I should buy it.
Right.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what a career, right?
It was. I'm blessed, man. I mean, totally blessed. There's a time where you have to sit back, and I always have to remind myself whenever something doesn't. Okay, if I feel like, oh man, I'm getting screwed, right? I always have to sit back and pinch myself and go, no, you're not, man. Because you always have to remind yourself, no matter how bad you think it is, somebody in this world would gladly change places with you, right?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So I never took it for granted, man.
Yeah.
So even like when you talk about retiring as a colonel, that's something that never went to my head. I mean, I don't identify myself as that. That always pisses me off when I see people and they want to go, well, when I was a colonel in the Air Force, like, who cares? You know, it's like that.
I was a colonel too.
What are you doing now?
Yeah, what are you doing?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Right. You know,
Well, and I think to that point right there is I think that's why you connected with so many of us, is the fact that wasn't your intro. That wasn't your persona. And when I said earlier, you're a white collar mind with a blue collar heart, it's a true thing. You can deal with the people that you dealt with intellectually, but then you can come back home and deal with the workers who
Dude, that's fucking idiots.
are,
Yeah.
wait, hold on. Who are probably who are just as smart.
oh, totally. I mean,
I will exclude you.
I was talking about you.
Fair enough. But I think, you know, without getting into it because we are limited, but I think I know for the four of us that are here, we can say that we truly enjoyed the moment that we got with you.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
No doubt.
I appreciate
it.
It speaks volumes to who you are because you left the organization and the organization is now like, you know, what we're waiting for the next shoe to drop.
Yeah.
Where I don't think we ever had that with you, and I can say, and I told you the first day I met you, I will be your biggest advocate or your biggest adversary. And luckily we didn't have to.
Yeah.
Right. That's how he treats us, like trash.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah.
No, we agree 100%.
But that's you brought something that none of us had ever seen before, and a lot of people hadn't seen, and we appreciate that.
If you guys understand, man, my dad quit school when he was 16 years old.
Yeah, I remember you
And
saying
then
that.
went to Coast Guard, got a GED, and ended up retiring as a vocational school teacher. But my dad never took an engineering class in his life. He always had a measuring tape in his pocket. He always had a notepad and a golf pencil. And if you needed something made, he would make it. He would design it, he would make it, he'd build it. And I'd always tell people too, at Public Works, I don't care what it is you need. Whatever it is, there's somebody in that building that can do it.
Yeah.
There's somebody in that building that can do this, and try to remind people that. That's why I always told commissioners too. I said, don't freaking come in this building wearing a freaking tie and a jacket.
Yeah.
Get that stuff off, leave it in the car, because if you come in, you're going to look like you're selling insurance, or you got something you're going to try to do here. And it's like, you don't do that to these guys, And, but it's, from the blue, I wish I could take you guys to my hometown, man, because I grew up as blue collar.
Well, you said we could stay in your town.
Yeah, we got it on tape.
Yeah.
And he's been drinking water on it.
That's right.
He already
Exactly.
He already forgot.
Exactly. I got to push more. You can mow off. It's just the blue collar part of it. It's always something very special to me. Even with the crew chiefs, I can tell you that in my assignments, a lot of guys would ask a lot of times, "Hey man, how come the crew chiefs are always doing this for you and they're not doing that for us?" Well, because you don't treat them like human beings, man.
Yeah, right.
Go out and talk to them. Go out and ask them. Talk about their families.
Spend
some time
You
with
forget
them.
people are people.
Right.
Treat them like people.
Exactly. Yeah. Take the time to get to know that person, because the only difference between them and you is you were offered an opportunity they were not offered.
They were not offered.
That's the only difference. That's what it was like for a lot of guys I grew up with, man. So there's a guy, a buddy of mine, Jeff Harvey, one of my closest friends growing up. We used to turn wrenches a lot growing up together. Graduated high school. Jeff worked as a fleet tech for Coca-Cola for I don't know how many years, but opened his own shop. And this guy, you should see the stuff that this guy builds, the stuff that he does, And here's a guy with a high school education that did a shop, owns a couple 100 acres of land in upstate New York, has all these I love going home. Every time I go home, there's a new project, right? There's a new car, new something. But you look, and I think he's an example of, hey, look, he didn't take the college route. Why? Because one, it wasn't an opportunity available to him. But he was highly successful doing what he's doing. I have a cousin of mine, same thing. He's a drywall guy, does labor stuff, but his freaking brain is, if he'd have been given the opportunity, he had a master's in something special, doing something. So it's like, but it's, I can go on and on about it, man, but it's
I know you got to go.
Yeah.
Well,
Thanks
we
for
understand
giving
it.
it.
But I did want to do one
go
thing.
ahead. Yeah,
sure thing. Yeah.
What brought this up is your music, right? Obviously, we've been to a couple shows. Well, I've been to a couple shows.
Yeah.
No, fuck you.
I haven't.
You didn't even invite me.
I went.
You got to come on.
I lost your number.
When are you playing again?
I'm playing. I'll be at Goat Patch tomorrow. Goat Patch.
Tomorrow?
Yeah,
Okay.
Goat Patch from 5 to 7 tomorrow.
Oh, shit, no, my wife has it.
Trails in Colorado Springs,
Christmas
downtown location. I'll be there from 5:30 or 5 o'clock till close.
Okay.
On no, we're not. I take that back. No, I'm doing a. Sorry, we got a private party on Saturday, but Sunday I'll be at
I'll be
Trails
there.
End Up in Monument. Yeah.
What time?
We'll show
on
up.
Sunday?
We'll show
we'll
up.
be there.
It's 3:30. 3:30 to
Okay.
close.
Where?
Yeah, Monument. Trails End Up in
That's
Monument.
Yeah. That place is cool.
I just put it on Facebook, man. I just put our latest schedule.
Have you
Yeah,
heard?
yeah.
Have you heard from? What's that guy's name? From.
Oh, fuck. That random guy at
No, dude, no.
That dude was reminded me of DY. It reminded me of DY so much.
Dude, he was, I gotta tell you, his stuff he was writing, the lyrics
It wasn't bad.
was right. I'm like, man, you could really work with this, but I don't know what he was hopped up on.
Well, I just
Life.
Well,
He walked from Mobile, Alabama.
Yes,
right?
he did. And he had a notebook full of lyrics.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude
Yeah.
was crazy.
Just
He was
writing.
nuts.
He probably got some good
No, he's
shit,
got some
though.
good shit.
Yeah.
Right.
So what was your question?
It wasn't a question. I just wanted. I know you got to leave.
Yeah.
If you want to put your Facebook name on there, that way everyone can look you up and go to your shows and check you out.
Yeah.
But I would also love to have you back to talk about music more.
Absolutely, I'd love to,
So,
man. Yeah.
When you have more time, like family,
man,
come on,
exactly.
family.
Right? Yeah, go to Kevin Mastin Music.
Kevin Mastin Music
on Facebook. That's where we put our stuff on. I'm like a pig looking at a wristwatch when it comes to social media, though. So it's like, I mean, it's like,
that is a great analogy. We are going to start using that all the time now, and people are going to look at us like,
wait, hold on.
listen to the podcast.
Do pigs use that broken ass watch? Or no? I'm just kidding. That's a badass watch.
That is
a badass watch.
Well, well deserved.
Yeah, it was,
Right.
Well deserved, man.
Yeah, so the story behind this watch, though, this little thing here, if you unscrew it and pull it out, it has an ELT that'll go up the satellites and then
tell you where you are.
Oh,
shit. Yeah.
Yeah. When we got
Maverick
these,
I'm glad I didn't pull that out.
Maverick didn't have that.
these were not approved. When we got these were not authorized in the
By the
US when we got them.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you're before you go, when are you
go
going to collect your royalties from Top Gun?
Yes.
Right.
Since it's about
Actually,
you.
I remember seeing that at the end of the credits.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kevin Master.
Yeah,
Actually, thank you, Joker.
Yeah.
Thank you, Joker.
I've seen it.
Yeah.
I've seen it.
Yeah. Well,
But yeah, we definitely want you on again
Yes.
and
Love to,
again
man.
and again.
Yeah, absolutely. Love
Yeah.
to.
We love having you. We love talking to you.
Yeah,
We love
thanks,
hearing
man.
your stories.
you know what? You're appreciated.
Yes.
Thanks, man.
You're
You definitely are. Hopefully you
appreciated.
feel that.
I will tell you guys when I tell people I love you guys, I 100% mean it. That's not just a freaking catchphrase to make it sound good. I freaking love you guys. And if
Well-
you guys ever need anything, please reach out.
Oh, we will. Don't worry.
Yes.
Don't worry.
Yeah.
I think
Because I'm probably
if
gonna
you're
get
in the cabin.
Yeah, I think there's some keys we need.
Yeah. Or job opportunities later on because I might get let go. Kevin, I need a reference.
Hey man, I'm in the Finger Lakes with Lucy.
we rekindled.
Is the key under the mat? Where is it? How do I get in?
Lucy.
Shit. All right.
Yeah. Well, thanks for
Thank
joining
you,
us.
Kevin. Thank you.
Thank you so
appreciate it.
much.
Thank you guys.
Thanks for
man.
coming.
We've been looking forward to this for a long time.
I got to tell you, if I didn't promise my son dinner tonight, I could sit here and talk for hours with
We
him.
would, and
And
we
we would
would
listen.
love
There's
it.
always
Right.
next time. Don't
Yeah.
worry about it.
We would absolutely love it.
There's real quick. We had a thing when I was my last assignment in the Air Force was up in Washington. It was at the University of Washington, and I became really close friends with a guy whose daughter was in the same class as my son. He was a police officer in Kent, Washington. Then another guy who was a former Marine who, during the first Gulf War, his immune system shut down. He went from 225 pounds of chiseled freaking steel to like 120 pounds.
Oh, damn.
So, anyways, he's doing great now. But we became really good friends. But at the time, this guy Will, he was like 38 or so. Mike was in his 40s, and I had just turned 50. So it was called the 345 Club. And the way it ended up happening is we used to set up. Mike would have these fires out behind his house, and we'd sit around that fire. We're drinking whiskey, smoking cigars one night. Started about 6 o'clock. And we're like, what the hell time is it? It was like 2 a.m. We're like, damn, dude. So we got to roll, man. But it reminds me of this. I mean, we could be.
Oh,
here.
this is how.
Yeah,
That's
is what we
exactly how
have
it
to do.
is.
This is why we do it, right?
Yeah.
This is cool.
We spend
This
a
is
lot
really
of
cool.
we spend a lot of time together, but it's also nice to spend
Quality time together.
this quality.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is the part. I mean, what you guys are doing here, though, is a sidebar in fighter squadrons. This is what makes fighter squadrons so tight. Is the time you spend with each other, really getting to know each other, man.
Right.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
It's like
Right.
you can call somebody a friend,
Yeah.
but what
Right.
do you really know about the person?
Right.
You know.
Right.
And that's the thing, man. You get stuff like this. That's how you create a team. That's the one. I mean, this is a sidebar too, but it's like something always
pin.
something.
Yeah.
Pull
Yeah,
the
yeah,
pin.
yeah, yeah.
It's time to go.
I gotta go. I do have to go. So
All
the
right.
thing is, but real quick, I'll tell you this just really quick. The thing that really I struggled with when I retired from the military, the thing I struggled with the most, is when I walk into some place and they go, "Oh, hey, yeah, my team." Oh, that's your team? Really? Okay. What's his hometown?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Does
Is
he
he
have kids?
married? I
Yeah.
don't know. Does he have kids? I don't know.
Right.
No, you're not a team. You're just a bunch of individuals working in close proximity to each other. Yeah, you're not a team.
You gotta
And that's
learn.
the thing. Yeah, you got to learn, man. And that's the thing, man. On that team, when you can sit there and you see somebody walks in the morning, you can look at him and go, Keith, you got about 4 hours of sleep last night. You didn't eat breakfast. and
Every
you're
day.
pissed about something. Yeah. So
Wow.
You haven't drank
He
enough
just
water.
nailed that.
Not enough water.
Nailed
That's
it.
your
Gotcha.
damn shirt. Too much
I
Mountain
told you
Dew.
that. What the fuck?
All right.
Yeah, man.
All right, let's let him
Oh,
go.
thank you,
All right,
guys.
everybody.
Kevin,
Till
thank-
next time.
Yeah.
We're gonna have Kevin on for part 2.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
And probably
We'll do
a
it.
3
Yeah.
and a 4 and
And yeah,
Let's do it,
whatever.
man. Yeah, I'm all for it,
absolutely.
man. Yeah.
You only signed the guitar once though, and that's
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Yeah, that's right, man. Yeah.
And that's a signature. By the way, that is a signature.
That's a hell of a signature.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kevin. We
It's
appreciate
not.
it.
It's
Yeah,
not
thank
on
you.
an
Yes,
Orville
thank you.
right
Yeah,
photo.
appreciate
but-
it. Yeah.
All right, we're out.
See y'all next time.
Right on, man.